Today is World Refugee Day, and this year's theme is whoever, wherever, whenever, everyone has the right to seek safety. In a message for the day, the Secretary General notes that today the global refugee population is at a record high and that the war in Ukraine has triggered the largest and fastest displacement in Europe since the Second World War. The Secretary General points out that together with women, children, and men fleeing conflict elsewhere in the world, the total number of forcibly displaced people has reached 100 million, a grim indictment of our times. He stressed that the right to seek asylum is a fundamental human right and that people escaping violence or persecution must be able to cross borders safely. And as you've seen this weekend, ahead of World Refugee Day, the Secretary General visited refugee families from Iraq and Afghanistan who are now living in New York area. His first stop was in Brooklyn and then went to Queens. The Secretary General recalled that when he led the UN Refugee Agency, there were twice as many resettlement opportunities as available for refugees. He urged more states to open their borders to asylum seekers. He called on all to stand together in solidarity and defend the integrity of the international protection regime. For his part, Filippo Grandi, the High Commissioner for Refugees, emphasized that the world has a choice: either come together to reverse the trends of persecution, violence, and war, or accept that the legacy of the 21st century is one of continued forced displacement. We all know which is right and smart, which is the right and smart thing to do, Mr. Grandi said. And as a note, sad note on World Refugee Day, the World Food Programme warned today that further food ration cuts are imminent as for refugees as humanitarian needs multiply around the world while the funding struggles to keep pace. Ration cuts of up to 50% are impacting 3/4 of all refugees supported by the World Food Programme in Eastern Africa. Refugees living in Ethiopia, Kenya, South Sudan, and Uganda are the most impacted. Hamstrung by funding constraints, WFP has prioritized assistance to ensure that vital food reaches the most vulnerable families first. WFP said that these painful decisions are very often leave refugees without support at a time when food assistance is a difference between life and death. In 2021, WFP assisted nearly 10 million refugees globally.